Hello everyone, and welcome to the Rastakhan Rumble pack opening extravaganza. I've got 133 Rastakhan Rumble packs to open, and this is kind of going to function as also a bit of a review for some of the cards we missed out, or maybe a bit of a chat about some synergies or some strategies that have come out since the cards have been released. You know, possibly more elements to a strategy have been released for a card that was spoiled early, and we're going to take another look at it with that context. I've got a bunch of packs to go through here, so without further ado, we're just going to jump into it. Just going to jump straight into them. Oh, I like this drum roll that comes out. Alright. Spirit of the Dead. So we didn't really see many more synergies, I think, come out of this. Still probably going to be a very combo-tastic card. Keen to see what people do with that. The Spirit of the Lynx. Interesting. Did we talk about this one on the spoiler video? 3 mana 0/3. Whenever you summon a beast, give it +1/+1. Interesting. I mean, I guess that's pretty good with like Unleash the Hounds. It's pretty good with you know, the Hunting Mastiff maybe. Interesting card. Kind of mass beast summoning, but don't think it's going to be too good. Our first legendary, High Priest Thekel. So we definitely talked about this card. The 3 mana 3/4. Convert all but one of your hero's health into armor. So this is going to really help enable the heal paladin archetype, as well as some cards like the Crystallizer, the new 3 mana 3/5 beast that we got in the last pack that deals 5 damage to your hero. A lot of these cards are really going to help enable the paladin to actually start healing, which is very good. Now the upside of healing is TBD at this stage, I think. We also got an Untamed Beastmaster. It's an epic. Whenever you draw a beast, give it +2/+2. In a 3 mana 3/4 body is actually pretty reasonable. You know, we've seen so many decks start playing cards like the Amalgam, the 3 mana 3/4 that is every creature type, because it does, you know, synergize quite well with some cards. And I think if you could find a deck that, you know, is playing a bunch of beasts and wants a 3 mana 3/4 body, I think it's perfect. Alright, on to the next. Lickham, we talked a lot about this card. Interesting weapon. Potentially 2 mana 3/3 weapon. Lots of really good weapons in this set. Hopefully we'll see a couple more of them. Zendalari Templar, 4 mana 4/4. If you've restored 10 health this game, gain +4/+4 and Taunt. So this is one of those healing upside paladin cards. You know, a 4 mana 8/8 is pretty reasonable, and a 4 mana 4/4 is also fine. You know, Hooked Reaver. You know, people, I guess, have decided that the opportunity cost of playing Hooked Reaver in your deck outweighed by the upside. So I wouldn't be surprised if Zendalari Templar does see a little bit of play if Heal Paladin does become a bit of a thing. Soup Vendor. 3 mana 1/4. Whenever you restore 3 or more health to your hero, draw a card. So once again, another upside card for this kind of heal paladin archetype. Seems like there's a lot of ways to deal yourself damage, a lot of upsides for healing, but now we have to try and find out whether the healing is good enough. Spirit of the Frog. So this is one of the cards we talked quite a lot about in the spoiler video. Say 3 mana 0/3, stealth for 1 turn. Whenever you cast a spell, draw a spell from your deck that costs 1 more. I think I kind of pointed out that I really like this in Shaman, because Shaman has, not only do you have cards like Zap and Earthshock, kind of these, you know, early game combinations where if you're using a Zap and then you go get an Earthshock, you're doing really well in the early game, in matchups where you want to be good in the early game. But Shaman also have a bunch of great 3-drop spells in Healing Rain and Lightning Storm. And Wolves, I guess, if you want. They got a great 4-drop spell in Hex, and they have a great 5-drop spell in Volcano. They also have cards like Farsight and the new 3 mana, is it Ghostly Visage, that discovers a spell and your next spell costs 3 less. They've got a lot of great 3s, and potentially a way to actually start chaining off like a lot of control spells and really lock your opponent out of the game. So That might be enough upside for the Frog to see play, but I'm a little bit dubious on it. I don't think people will try it, because it looks like it doesn't have a lot of upside. Scorch here, fantastic card. 4 mana, deal 4 damage to a minion, cost 1 if you play an elemental last turn. It's kind of exactly what a lot of those elemental decks want. Some early interaction, particularly ones that are efficient as well. Mark of the Lower. This card's very, very interesting. 4 mana spell. Choose one, give a minion +2, +4, and taunt, or summon 2/3/2 raptors. So some similarities to Serenite Chain Gang with a bit of flexibility. Could be a great card to get a low cost, a very aggressive token druid back into the meta. Pyromaniac, much discussed card, I have to say. I think this card is very, very polarizing in that some people are, think that it has a huge amount of upside. A lot of people think that it is too much magical Christmas land, that you're almost never going to kill anything with this thing out, and even if you do, it's not that much upside anyway. But I will say that we have seen Cold Wraith pop up in some mage decks in the past, just as a reasonable body that has the potential to get a card draw off. And I think this is definitely a little bit better than Cold Wraith, if that's what you seek. Ooh, big pack here. So we got a couple of things. We got Sulthraze, new warrior weapon. 6 mana, 4/4 weapon. Overkill, you may attack again. So kind of interesting, bit of a variation on the kind of gore howly, super collidery, very specific minion combo deck. Minion clearing weapon, rather. Nord, what is going on? Good to see you up in the chat. We're cracking some packs, having some fun, enjoying ourselves. So I think Sulthraze is it's interesting. It's doing something on a different angle. It has more charges than Super Collider, but it can do more immediately, but less over time than something like a Gorehowl, I would say. So if the meta necessitates something like this, if we think of decks like Odd Paladin or something like that, where if you're going to be paying 6 mana for a weapon, you want a lot of value immediately, and Super Collider can get a bit awkward against Odd Paladin. I think Sulthraze is really interesting. It's really interesting. Jessica, oh my gosh! Wah 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 wah! Wow! Wah 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 wah! Wow! Nord, thank you for getting that sub going on.
Who whips hair my 4-month anniversary.
Excellent. Good to have you for the 4 months. Welcome back. Jessica, I did not see the string that you shared. Unless, did you share it in chat? Did you share it on Twitter? Was it on YouTube? Let me know. Anyway, we've got a couple of other cards in here. Shriek. Discard your lowest cost card, deal 2 damage to all minions. I think this card is maybe not well positioned right now. I think once we see Defile go out of the meta, we might see this pop up in more kind of fair control decks. In general on the Discord. No, I haven't checked the Discord yet today, but I will check it once we've done cracking some packs. But with the discard archetype kind of getting a bit more attention, I don't know if this is the type of card that it wants. I would imagine that the current discard lock is going to be very aggressive, and maybe dealing 2 damage to all minions is not the greatest thing. We've also got Spirit of the Shark. This card I think is fantastic. Very, very combo-licious. 4 mana, 0/3 stealth for a turn. Your minions, battle cries and combos trigger twice. Already I'm thinking, Faldora Strider is fantastic. I'm thinking big Van Cleefs. There's a lot going on here. I think Spirit of the Shark will definitely see play, whether it's in a top tier deck or whether it's just in a really fun combo type list. I think it'll be good. Emberscale Drake, nice role player in a potential Dragon Warrior list. Murloc Tasty Fin. Interesting if this card can kind of keep the Murloc dream alive. But a little bit overcosted, and I think if a lot of decks that are looking for that kind of effect will play the Primal Fin Lookout instead. Raiding Party, draw 2 pirates from your deck, combo and a weapon. This is pretty interesting. You know, I think the pirate rogue deck is the most one of the most interesting decks to me from a will it work kind of perspective. We've seen a lot of archetypes that Blizzard have pushed before that just fall flat on their face. We've seen a lot of archetypes that Blizzard pushed before that have been incredibly successful. Could this be the second coming of pirates? We will see. But I think a card like that could, like Raiding Party, could definitely make it into that kind of deck. Long game value card. Seems like the most recent pirates are a bit bigger, a bit more late game orientated. Grave Horror, 12 mana, 7/8, costs 1 less for each spell you've cast this game. So, you know, if we think of existing archetypes already, you know, Grave Horror goes fantastically into like a Resurrect Priest, which is a deck that's already planning on playing a bunch of spells, but also a deck that really wants just big bodies. I think Grave Horror does serve as a big body. The question is, are you going to be casting enough spells to make this thing cost, you know, 5 or 6 to get it down early enough to have it stop you from dying, and then also be able to get value from resurrecting it? Unsure, and especially this is a set where, you know, we've got a couple of taunts that have like cost reduction effects. Another legendary, Warmaster Voon, the Rhinos, Akali's Rhinos, doing its thing. 4 mana, 4/3, Battlecry, copy all dragons in your hand. Really interesting value card here. Not a dragon itself, but, you know, particularly if you imagine copying cards like Ysera, you know, even copying Alexstrasza, or just Primordial Drakes and things like that. Warmaster Voon could be a really important card in a very, maybe fair late game warrior list. Dragon warrior late game list. And with the other, the minion that's a execute on a minion, if you're holding a dragon, there might be enough upside to play that, that kind of deck. New Challenger, 7 mana, discover a 6-cost minion, summon it with Taunt and Divine Shield. So, this is interesting. There are a couple of stinkers on 6-cost minions. There's a couple of great ones. Things like, obviously Can jump out as being, you know, fantastic 6-drop. Giving them Taunt and Divine Shield, well, we'll see how good that is in the long run. A lot of these 6-drops that you're going to want to summon probably already have Taunt. They might already have Divine Shield, and you are still paying, overpaying for the stats and the effects. So we'll unsure on this one. Unsure. I can't imagine that. I can't think of a deck that really wants this kind of card. We've also got Serpent Ward, 2 mana, 0/2. It's a totem, neutral totem. I think that's the first neutral totem. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to the enemy hero. Interesting. Didn't see this card in the spoilers, I don't think. But that's a kind of cool effect. Wonder if there'll be some like resurrect decks, some cheap resurrect decks that try and just chain off some Serpent Wards. But maybe that's the same kind of deck that would want to do a bunch of stuff with Goblin Bombs and things, and the Serpent Ward is just a worse Goblin Bomb. Spirit of the Dragonhawk, your hero power also targets adjacent minions, 2 mana, 0/3. It's pretty interesting. I kind of like it, especially if you're really going to be trying to get those Pyromaniacs and stuff off. Take advantage of those kind of effects. Oh, this is the only legendary in the set that I really, really wanted. The Undertaker. So 8 mana, 8/5. The World Heavyweight Champion of my heart. Battlecry, gain the death rattle effects of 3 friendly minions that died this game. So already people talking about this with Hadronox, things like that. People already talking about this card in combination with Shudderwock as well. That you can, you know, Shudderwock can gain this one's Battlecry, and then the Shudderwock starts gaining a bunch of death rattles. Interesting shenanigans happening there. But I really like the Undertaker, and I'm sure some shenanigans are going to happen with this card, especially once rotation happens. Spirit of the Bat as well. 2 mana, 0/3, stealth for a turn. After a friendly minion dies, give a minion in your hand +1/+1. So kind of continuing on a little bit of that smaller theme of the hand buff warlock stuff. And also kind of goes pretty well with a lot of the self-sacrifice zoo swarm kind of style. So I think they did a really good design, good job with the design on the Spirit of the Bat, because it actually fits multiple warlock archetypes, rather than this card just saying whenever you discard a card, I don't know, like it's a Melchizar's Imp or something like that, where it really only fits kind of one, maybe 1.5 archetypes. That mage, what's going on? Where are you? You're sitting in a Tommy Wave stream. We're cracking some packs. We're gonna get some deck building later. Enjoying ourselves so far. Heavy Metal. Summon a random minion with cost equal to your armor. I think we've kind of pointed this out as being kind of one of the weaker cards. That it's already hard with like a Geosculptor Yip to get a lot of immediate value. And Heavy Armor kind of asks a lot more and doesn't give as much. Alright, speaking of hand buff, Hirik the Bat. A 8-mana 1/1 Battlecry. Fill your board with copies of this minion. So this is another card that, similar to Saronite Chain Gang, similar to many other cards before, because they summon copies of themselves, really incentivize you to hand buff them. So with the Totem, with Soul Infusion from the previous set, with Prince Keleseth, you want to be buffing up Hirik to, even at just a 3/3, that's an 8 mana for 21/21 worth of stats. And if you go one higher, then you're dodging Hellfire as well. So I think Hirik is, if the hand buff deck wants to go a bit later in the game, or maybe wants to be more mid-rangey, I think Hirik represents a fantastic top end. However, I don't know if that deck wants to necessarily go late, or if it wants to be dumping a lot of its hand buffs into Hirik rather than a card like Chain Gang or the other Warlock Legendary. So we'll see what happens. Playing some casual games. We might play some casual games. Yeah, I think I have a Spectate win as well. But I think we might do some casual games, or we might jump onto the ladder and not worry about dropping too many games. So another Emberscale Drake and Surrender to Madness. This is a card I'm really excited for, because I think it's a card that, it's the type of effect that often gets underrated. I compared it a lot. It's a very easy comparison to make to Prince Keleseth, that Prince Keleseth was derided as the worst of the princes when he was first announced. Turns out he's the best. So Surrender to Madness, 3 mana. Destroy 3 of your mana crystals. Give all minions in your deck +2/+2. Once again, same kind of stuff that Keleseth is really good with. Saronite Chain Gang, cards like Leroy, these types of things. Losing the 3 mana crystals. We'll see how good that, how bad that is. Jimbo, what's going on? Good evening. Good evening indeed. We'll see how bad destroying 3 mana crystals is, but I think especially in Priest, which is a class that can play a lot of card draw, you can do, Wild Pyromancer, Northshire Cleric, Circle of Healing shenanigans, and actually draw a lot of cards for not a lot of mana. You may actually have a way to kind of come back in there. Oh my gosh, Trollboy party indeed. We are cracking some Trollboy packs. We're doing pretty well so far. What are we at? 4 legendaries out of 20-something packs, so this will be like Tetris. Prepare for the drought. Prepare for the long bar drought. Another Grave Horror. If anyone in chat, if there is a card that you wanna point out, you think's pretty sick that we open, or you've got some interesting points, just yell it out. We'll have a bit of a chat. We got Furaki Battle Axe, 5 mana 3/3 weapon, overkill. Give a minion in your hand +2/+2. We talked about this a little, and I think it's very metagame dependent. I think if we see a metagame where there's a bunch of 2 and 1 toughness minions, the Furaki Battle Axe could really just allow a Paladin deck to kind of go over the top, and then all of a sudden you're playing your taunts, your Tyrians, your what is it, the 4 mana 4/4 that gets +4/+4 and taunt if you've healed a bunch of damage. All of a sudden you're playing just these even bigger minions, and I think that could be great if that is the meta. If the meta is more mid-rangey, and there's a lot more 3 toughness minions, I think Firaki Battle Axe is terrible. I think True Silver Champion Vine Cleaver, clearly better. So we'll see where the meta goes. And hopefully Firaki Battle Axe sees some play, because it seems like a really sweet card. Got a lot of packs to go through. Yeah, we're trying to churn through them, but also get a bit of discussion going on. You know, kind of think of some decks we might want to play as well. Definitely excited to maybe try out some Dragon Warrior now that we've got Voon. Grim Rally. So this is a card that a lot of people are excited for. I know that Mage is really excited for this card. Kind of enables a really swarmy Zoo archetype. So 1 mana Warlock spell, destroy a friendly minion, give your minions +1/+1. So we can use this to crack eggs if we play if we want to play some number of eggs. We can use this to destroy minions that have already got their value, such as Kobold Librarian and Water Boy, my favorite 2 mana Kobold Librarian. So we can use this to destroy minions we've already got value out of, to pump our other minions. The real question, I think, is that at the moment the go wide minions, outside of a select few like Saronite Chain Gang, we're going to say Saronite Chain Gang a lot today, the go wide minions don't have a lot of power. You know, outside of a couple of the Microtech controllers, okay, but then you have to start really scraping the bottom of the barrel. So we'll see if Grim Rally is going to be worth it, but I think with especially in the current kind of egg atmosphere, I think it'll do good. Mass Hysteria, another card we talked quite a lot about. This is the 5 mana Priest Brawl, essentially. Force each minion to attack another random minion. I think we found out that 0 attack minions can attack, and all minions attack until the effect is over. So, you know, if a minion gets killed by an attack, it will still attack something else. So if you imagine your opponent, if your opponent has a board full of 1/1s, 5 1/1s, I think they all kill themselves, or one will survive. So exactly like Brawl. So Mass Hysteria, another great option for Priest board clear. Now, will it see play with Psychic Scream still in the format? To be determined, but coming in at 2 mana cheaper, potentially being another option you can get off Shadow Visions. It's very good. Pounce as well. We may as well mention it while these cards are here, but Pounce, I think, is the card that we'll need to look to enable all of this Druid attack power kind of stuff. I think Pounce and Claw are the really efficient cards, and oftentimes efficiency is king. The Beast Within, what is this? Give a friendly beast +1/+1, then it attacks a random enemy minion. Okay, I remember this card. Very interesting. I think I didn't have a lot to say when we first saw this, but thinking more about it, you know, I think this works great with those high toughness beasts. So cards like that new 3 mana 3/5, Misha, anything like that. I think Beast Within goes really well, because those are cards where you're more likely to be able to attack and then Beast Within to trade something. Also kind of counts as a little bit of Wind Fury, I guess, because you can always go face and then Beast Within it, or Beast Within then go face. I really like the Hunter card that lets you resummon beasts that die that turn. Don't know about the random attack cards. Yeah, I mean, the random enemy minion does kind of suck. Yeah, the Hunter card that lets you resummon beasts, hopefully we'll pick up another one, because I'd love to talk about that. I think there's going to be a big kind of combo-y spell Hunter stuff going on, and that'll be a big part of it. Probably, you know, summoning a whole bunch of charged Devilsaurs, things like that. Spirit of the Rhino, 1 mana 0/3, stealth for a turn. Your rush minions are immune the turn that they're summoned. So I think we kind of talked about the warrior one was maybe the hardest one to get value out of, because not only, like, rush minions are already good at dealing with things that are on board, and this just makes them better at that. But if your opponent's not playing into the board, then you're kind of getting double downside. Another legendary. This is Princess Talanji with that big head. Look at that, the size of that head.
Morgan, baby, thank you.
Miss Live, or is that Miss Liv? Now, Riding Wave, thank you so much for the follow. Hopefully you're enjoying this pack opening. Princess Talanji Battlecry. Summon all minions from your hand that didn't start in your deck. 8 mana, 7/5. So this is cards like Thought Steal, Devour Mind, Curious Glimmer Root as well as anything that creates, you know, those 1/1 copies of things that we can get with the totem, of course. Yeah, anything like that. There's certainly a bunch of amazing effects. She's great in the canon. Princess Talanji. Who's Princess Talanji in WoW lore? What's her deal? What does she do? Spellhunter with Zul is broken. Yeah, hopefully we open the new hero card too. Would love to have a Zul'jin boy in the collection. Spirit of the Dead. So that's kind of what we could do with Talanji. We've got an epic, another new challenger. The Ornery Tortoise is the card that I've been talking about a lot. This 3 mana, 3/5, deal 5 damage to your hero. And I think that this is a card that, particularly once we dive into budget decks, I think this is a card we're going to be playing quite a lot of. Rastakhan's daughter. Oh, and who is Rastakhan? Is Rastakhan a big deal? Not a big deal. We also got Blood Scalp Strategist, the 3 mana 2/4. If you've got a weapon equipped, discover a spell. I think this is fantastic while we still have Candle Shot in the meta. As Candle Shot's a great weapon that you want to drop early, and this can kind of help get you back a little bit of the value that that you lose from you know, having to play Candle Shot, potentially against decks that are never going to summon a 1 toughness minion. Do we have you played Mechathune Druid? I have not. I don't think we cracked a Mechathune. We kind of stayed away from the Druid decks this season, outside of the Abomination Druid and Mill Druid. We really stayed away from the Druid decks. She basically does his job. What is Rastakhan's job? Is he the king? Oh, the king of all trolls. Okay, well, I mean, that's a pretty important job, I guess. So he's the deadbeat dad, and she's the daughter that actually runs the business. Revenge of the Wild. This is the card that we were talking about before. 2 mana hunter spell. Summon your beast that died this turn. So this has potential combinations with like charged Devilsaur and things like that, or lots of charge minions. Even just the Unleash the Hounds. You know, you unleash the hounds, trade them all in, Revenge of the Wild, bring them all back. If you've got like a scavenging hyena in the mix, do a lot of damage. In fact, maybe this will make the second coming of that kind of scavenging hyena, unleash the hounds, Tundra Rhino deck. Maybe it'll make the second coming of that thing. Also fantastic with Zul'jin. As adding another spell like this into the pool can give you more combo potential. Zul'jin casting all spells you've cast this game. I got a golden Zul'jin in the 6 free packs, and it's amazing in Spellhunter. Congratulations, Anime Cure. Congratulations. Oh, he's the king of the new troll faction. Who are the new trolls? How are they different? Grim Rally again. Golden Zul'jin, wow. Big congratulations. Oh, Spirit of the Bat. We might point out some of these commons as we're starting to crack through the rares. Another legendary, Shaman legendary this time. Zentimo, 3 mana, 1/3. Who's Zentimo? Huh? All you lore heads in the chat. Who's Zentimo? When you target a minion with a spell, it also targets adjacent ones. So this is really interesting because, and we got it with Spirit of the Frog, which is also quite good. So this turns your zaps into, you know, like a, not arcane, shooting star, the one that deals 1 and 1 adjacent. You know, it turns your zaps and earth shocks into shooting stars, which is huge. Turns your lightning bolts into lightning storms. Turns your hexes into multi-hexes, which I think is really interesting. And then you've also got the buff side of things, where if you target a minion like with like Earthen Might, that gets really big really quickly. We could potentially maybe see shenanigans with like Wind Fury going on. Lots of interesting stuff. Zentimo is just a Witch Doctor type. He's a cool dude, obviously. Yeah, I mean, obviously. Look at this guy. The Darkspear Trolls. Oh, wait, weren't the Darkspear Trolls like the original Trolls? Or were they like the antagonistic Trolls? And now they're joining the fray. Got Zentimo. Didn't even think about the combo with Hex. Caused some real rage. Yeah, just slam it down. How many legendaries we opened so far? I think we've opened 6 so far, plus the one for logging in. And what are we most excited to play? Most excited to give Control Paladin with Immortal Prelate a try. So hopefully we can crack some Immortal Prelates. But yeah, that's what I'm most excited for. I think Immortal Prelate represents a really interesting late game potential. You know, buffing things up over time. Outside of that, well, you know, we're always excited to play some budget decks. Always excited to play Odd Hunter, you know, aggro hunter lists. Darkspills are the original troll faction, led by Vol'jin. Oh. Alright. So we got another Spirit here, Spirit of the Tiger, 4 mana 0/3. After you cast a spell, summon a tiger with stats equal to its cost, and it has stealth. So this could be pretty cool in like even Paladin. I think that's the deck that I think about the most that wants to play Avenging Wrath, card like that. You know, plays Equality, plays Consecrate, these types of cards. Could also be quite good in the Heal Paladin deck. You know, we've got Flash of Light right here. You know, with 2 mana, heal 4, draw a card. If we've got another heal synergy, could go off. We get a 2/2 Tiger. Some interesting stuff here. The great thing with all these spirits is they all have a little bit of potential just because of that stealth for one turn that you can almost always get a little bit of value from. Yeah, the Darkspear Trolls in Warcraft 3, they definitely are, right? Booty Bay Rookie, 2 mana 3/3, Battlecry, give your opponent a coin. So a lot of people talked about this in Shutterwalk as a way to make your opponent constantly burn cards. Every time you do a Shutterwalk cycle, give your opponent a coin or two. Try and lock their hand out of the game, and potentially with Marin the Fox or anything else that summons a minion for your opponent, Marin being the best one, you can potentially lock your opponent's hand out and lock your opponent's board out, which is very tasty. Darkspear, the original. Yep. My 30-0 wins folder is getting full since the new expansion release. Oh gosh. But yeah, I think Booty Bay Rookie, outside of the combo potential, is this a good fair card? Probably not. I think a lot of these aggressive decks really want to make sure that the opponent never gets to a stage when they can resolve a spell that helps them turn a corner, and giving them a coin really helps them do that. It's a lot of the reason why we don't see cards like the 3 mana 4/4 that gives your opponent a mana crystal. Alright, Tree Speaker. 5 mana 4/4, transform your Treants into 5/5 Ancients. You know, maybe this makes the Treant deck do a thing. I think that could be an outsider deck. We might actually check that one out, the Treant deck. I don't know if I have Cenarius. I don't know if he goes in there, but Tree Speaker could be pretty interesting. Could be a good upside in there. Kind of like a big level up. Another legendary, oh my gosh. High Priestess Jeklik. I guess we're doing Discard Warlock, friends. This is kind of one of the most hyped cards of the set. And I think it actually has one of the sweetest artworks. As far as like a cool wrestling aesthetic with the bat mask, and the Jeklik is hectic. It's a 4 mana 3/4 with Taunt and Lifesteal. Already fantastic. Like, just that line of stats is already good. But when you discard it, add 2 copies of it to your hand. So any of our spells that, you know, we can play a Doom Guard, discard it, doesn't matter, we get 2 copies. Goes very well with the Discard Warlock card from Ungoro, the 2 mana 2/2 Beast, when you discard it, it comes back to your hand and gets +2/+2. And potentially Jeklik, you know, if you always have one in your hand and you're always to discard, then you're always just going to have more and more gas. So I really like this card. I think it might be the card that takes Discard Warlock over the top, maybe makes it surpass Heal Zoolock or regular Zoolock, and I'm looking forward to that, because I think Heal Zoolock has overstayed its welcome. I know people have been hating on it, but I've been enjoying Pirate Rogue. Just pulled a turn 4 Cannon Barrage for 18 damage and got a concede. That's sick. Yeah, I want to see that. Cannon Barrages for 18 on turn 4. That sounds tasty. But yeah, I don't know. People have been hating on the Pirate Rogue, but I've got some confidence both in a mid-rangey version, but maybe an aggressive version like what you're talking about could be good too. I think you're right about the spirits giving value. Akali makes great work with the immune effect. Yeah, that's true. It makes Akali a bit better. But once again, like, wasn't Akali already kind of fine? I don't know. The warrior one's the only one that I'm just like, ooh. Is a spell hunter thread I come up with? Ah, excellent. I'll show you. Is that the one that you linked in the Discord? What's uppity, Tommy? 5k forever. What is going on? Good to see you in the chats. How many packs we're opening? We're cracking 133 today. We're almost halfway there, and we've gotten pretty lucky so far. I think we've got about 6-7 legendaries, plus the one from logging in. Excellent. Alright, Master's Call. This is another really strong hunter card that we talked about when we saw it. So it's a 3-mana spell. Discover a minion in your deck. If all 3 are beasts, draw them all. So this is kind of like a little bit of a Stitch Tracker if you don't want a body on your Stitch Tracker. But also, if we do find a combo deck where every piece is a beast, you know, we talk about a lot of combos with Stone Tusk Ball, a lot of combos with Charged Devil's Oar, Witchwood Grizzly, that kind of stuff. If all your combo minions are beasts, or potentially all beasts and Stitch Tracker, then Master's Call could be a way to just superpower, just turbo your combo to your hand. It's really, really interesting. Jeepers, I've been broke since the pre-order was announced, so I couldn't get in on the deal. Feels bad, man. Any decks you're looking forward to? Yeah, we've been talking a bit about that Pirate Rogue deck. I think the one that I'm most excited for is definitely Heal Paladin and Control Paladin with Immortal Prelate. Waterboy, it's a really nice card. I think this card might be one of the most underlooked cards in the set, just because you know, Cobalt Librarian's going to rotate. But this card is great in Hunter, because a lot of aggressive Hunter lists just want to be able to curve out and keep hero powering as well. This allows you to build a board and hero power as well. Great with Warlock as well. Lets you, once again, build a board, keep hero powering, keep your hand nice and stocked. And we'll see, could also potentially be good in like Druid. If the attack power Druid does a thing, maybe you want to slam this guy out and make sure that you can keep hero powering. So I think Waterboy, I'm going to be looking for him to do a lot of work in the next coming years. The even version or normal pirates? I'm not too sure. I can see both. I can see an even version and a normal version in my head. Guess we'll have to try both of them out. What do we think about Dragon Warrior? Okay, I mean, Dragon Warrior has an unfortunate problem in that it's kind of the same problem we pointed out with not Control Warrior, like the Mech Warrior and Fatigue Warrior at the start of this expansion, where, you know, you're trying to bring the game to super late game, but everyone else is doing something more busted than you. So the Dragon Warrior deck, I think it needs to be able to like close the game out in a reasonable fashion. Like, it can't just be the super value, you know, play Voon for copy 5 things to get, you know, 1,000,000 Primordial Drakes and stuff. I think it might want to do that a little bit so that it can go over the top of mid-range decks. But I think if you get stuck into the trap of trying to be too controlling, I think that's where the deck is the weakest. I think you just want to be playing like the good effects, the execute on a stick, the Voon, and like the Ysera, the late game package, but just be a bit more fair about it and make sure that you can still close the game out. I think it will have a very good matchup against aggro decks because of the 5 mana, gain 5 armor dragon, in addition to Warrior having access to cards like Warpath and good weapons, good early game weapons. Alright, Gurubashi Offering, 1 mana 0/2. At the start of your turn, destroy this and gain 8 armor. So 1 mana to gain 8 armor, but it has to survive a turn, which is really unfortunate. I don't think this is too good. Weird epic. Real weird epic. And then got the Bloodclaw in here. This card I'm really looking forward to. 1 mana 2/2 weapon. Battlecry, deal 5 damage to your hero. Obviously helps enable those heal archetypes. But a 1 mana 2/2 weapon is going to do a lot of work against some decks. And I think if Paladin does become the thing, if Odd Paladin is still the thing and Bloodclaw is in there, we're going to see people change their creature base to make sure it doesn't get traded into by the Bloodclaw. More Armani Berserkers, less Sorcerer's Apprentices. Okay. The new 5 mana 5/5 does nothing if you're running mid-range though. I mean, you're still going to get into situations with a mid-range deck where someone out-aggroes you and the extra armor is going to help quite a lot. Like if that stops your opponent from smashing in. And in a deck with a bunch of Primordial Drakes and stuff, you hopefully be able to stabilize later on. But 5 armor is not a lot, you are right. Belligerent Gnome, 2 mana 1/4. Taunt Battlecry, if your opponent has 2 or more minions, get +1 attack. We've already seen 2 mana 2/4 Taunters be very good in the past, namely the Priest Dragon card. If you're holding a dragon, gets +1 attack and taunt. It's 2 mana 1/4. Your opponent having 2 or more minions, well, yeah, some decks have that. Especially on turn 2 or 3, still possible. Giant Tool, what's going on? We're cracking some packs, of course. Hopefully you're excited for the new expansion, see some new cards. So I think the Belligerent Gnome could make sense in a deck that wants to hedge against certain aggressive decks. The aforementioned Odd Paladin and the Zoo Warlocks. Let's take a look at Headhunter's Hatchet. Headhunter's Hatchet. Say that 3 times fast. 2 mana 2/2 weapon, Battlecry. If you control beast, gain +1 durability. Obviously a 2/3 weapon is very, very good for 2 mana. This could be a fantastic, at least for now, it's going to go very well alongside Crackling Razormaw, but once Ungoro rotates out, this could be kind of the replacement as far as curve and upside goes, in that both want you to have a beast on turn 1. Though I will say the Headhunter's Hatchet is a bit better on turn 3 if you just go Beast Headhunter's Hatchet. It's a little bit better. But yeah, this could be a really big deal as far as, you know, a more beasty mid-range hunter goes. It does compete with Candleshot and Eaglehorn Bow though, and that might just be a bit too much. Alright, we got a Golden Lickem. Look at this poisonous frog. This frog is... oh, he's enjoying himself. Having a big old lick. Devastate, 1 mana, deal 4 damage to a damaged minion. Is interesting. That's kind of an execute a lot of the time. And in some decks, you know, you're going to lose if you get a late game anyway, so it may as well just be a 1 mana execute for the early game. Very interesting. Do you remember DDoS Priest? I do remember DDoS Priest. Yeah, with the Shadow Visions combo, the Against Terms of Service Priest. Big old froggies. That deck with Grave Horror? I mean, yeah, but like your opponent couldn't. I think that deck doesn't do anything. You know, once they patched the problem with the game. I think Resurrect Priest is actually a totally reasonable target for it. Names Mage. Oh my gosh, Names Mage and that Mage in the chat at the same time. I guess you both have to walk into the arena and fight to the death. Banana Buffoon. I'm sure there's at least one Banana Buffoon in the chat right now. 3 mana 2/2 Battlecry, add 2 bananas to your hand. So one thing that is interesting about this is we have seen some priests play the Gargoyle, the 3 mana 2/2 that death rattles to add a coin to your hand, as a way to potentially upgrade spell stones, anything that has like an on-cast spell on-cast trigger. And Banana Buffoon does a pretty good job at that too. So if you've got a, you know, like Resurrect Priest, or, you know, potentially something like the Paladin Totem that does a thing when you cast a spell, even Violet Teacher, Banana Buffoon is an interesting option. You cast 12 spells on turn 1, turn 3 Grave Horror. That is pretty good. Banana Buffoon, best card art in the Rumble. I don't know, I'm pretty sure it's the chicken, the Gurubashi chicken. Or Jeklik. Jeklik is actually very good. Alright, Dragon Roar. 2 mana, add 2 random dragons to your hand. Interesting. Very interesting. We'd have to take a look at the pool of dragons, but currently I think the pool of dragons actually looks really good. Not a lot of stinkers. You've got like the amalgam, I guess, that you could add to your hand, but even then that's a reasonable stat line. Curves perfectly off turn 2 Dragon Roll. Goes very well with Twilight Drake. Goes obviously very well with Voon. Dragon Roll could make it, I think. As kind of a bit of a weird intersection of like Omega Assembly, where I think the Dragon thing is probably better early. Omega Assembly is much better late, but Dragon, like until you hit 10 mana, the Dragon Roar is better. Interesting one. Have you seen the new Mage Legendary that summons Ragnaros? Yeah, I needed to confirm with someone how that worked, because it says if you've dealt 8 damage with your hero power. Is that exactly 8 damage, or is that at least 8 damage? Alright, Spirit of the Raptor. I think this is the only spirit we haven't seen. A card that I'm very, very curious about, and quietly confident about. So 1 mana 0/3. Stealth for a turn. After your hero attacks and kills a minion, draw a card. So, you know, this kind of card, if we can turn our pounces and our claws or potentially bites into, you know, card draw, where we're trading one of our cards for one of our opponent's cards and also drawing, I think that's really interesting. And if there's the potential for a draw deck to completely lock our opponent off the board and make sure that we're always trading into things, and always getting value off the Spirit of the Raptor, it could be a big deal. It's overall at least 8 damage. Excellent. Then I think it's very good. I think that was the main thing when we saw it. We weren't sure how good it would be. Cheeky Ankle Biter. We didn't see this card. 2 mana 2/1, Lifesteal, Battlecry, deal 1 damage. So this is the Murloc Blowpiper guy, but it has Lifesteal, and so that applies to its Battlecry. This is really interesting. I mean, this is not so bad for like Odd Paladin, because, you know, it's a 1, it's going to trade for everything. Yeah, it'll kill a Silverhand Recruit, but then it'll just die. But if there is another aggressive deck like Odd Hunter, if it gets too 1 toughness focused, Cheeky Ankle Biter could actually be really good against that deck. But we'll see what happens with it. Stolen Steel, discover a weapon from another class. From another class? Is it one random other class? Are all the things from all the weapons from one class? This is very good. especially right now with the all the legendary weapons still in the discovery pool. Interesting. Stolen Steel. Another card that we didn't see during the initial reveal. Regenerating Thug. 4 mana 3/5. At the start of your turn, restore 2 health to this minion. That seems pretty cool. This is the Gurubashi chicken that we're talking about. I think this is one of the greatest card arts of the set. Regenerating Thug seems like an arena card, but arena cards have made their way into Constructed before, and a card like that maybe viable in mid-range. Okay, another Surrender to Madness. Is that like our third Surrender to Madness? How surrendered can we get? Another legendary, we have Akali the Rhino. 8 mana 5/5, rush, overkill, draw a rush minion from your deck, and give it +5/+5. So, you know, the good rush minions, you know, even just the Worgen, 3 mana 3/3, now it's a 3 mana 8/8. The, you know, Ziliax obviously goes off its head, and Crowley as well also goes off its head. You can fetch Akali with Town Crier. The real question is, how often on turn 8 are you going to be overkilling something with 5 damage? I would say it's not going to be likely, but hopefully we're wrong, because I think Akali could make a really interesting kind of rush archetype. Kind of more of a late game rush archetype. Golden Zandalari Templar. Oh, Epic Void Contract. I think this is the meme card of the set. 8 mana, destroy half of each player's deck. Half of each player's deck. Just, yeah, I guess. Sure. I mean, if you're trying to play Fatigue, presumably you're going to have more cards in your deck, so you're actually destroying more cards in your deck than your opponent's. If your opponent already has more cards in their deck, then after you cast it, they're still going to have more cards left in their deck. So, just a real weird card. Real weird card. Another Spirit of the Tiger. So many blood claws. Ooh, our first Immortal Prelate, and it's golden. It's a sign, friends. It's definitely a sign. So, in case you haven't seen Immortal Prelate, say 2 mana 1/3. On Death Rattle, shuffle this into your deck. It keeps any enchantments. So these are any buffs, any debuffs, anything like that. So one of the cool things with Immortal Prelate is, you know, you can give it effects like Spike Ridge Steed, or, you know, anything like that. Blessing of Might, Blessing of Wisdom, etc., etc. And it's going to retain those after it gets shuffled back into your deck. So, you know, I guess the deck that I was envisioning is kind of one where we, you know, just play Immortal Prelate and a couple of buff spells for the Immortal Prelates or for some of our other minions, and then we use Immortal Prelate both as a threat that grows bigger over time, but also as an anti-fatigue, a way to stop ourselves from fatiguing, because every time a Prelate dies, we're getting one card, our opponent's one card deeper into fatigue than we are. So, unfortunately, it's very weak to Silence, because Silence just completely wrecks it. It's very weak to opposing equalities and things like that. So, I think it's a bit of a pipe dream deck, but I really like the idea of going a bit deep on an Immortal Prelate. Maybe even deeper with, like, Valinir or something. We also got Snapjaw Shellfighter, 5 mana 3/8. Whenever an adjacent minion takes damage, this minion takes it instead. So kind of taunt. It's a way to protect your taunt minions in a way, but it doesn't deal its damage back. So I think this is a good way to protect. Like if you have an 8/8 out, an 8/8 with taunt out, like Lich King, Snapjaw Shellfighter protects the Lich King very well. because whatever trades in is going to take the Lich King's damage, but then this is going to take the damage for it, as opposed to protecting something small like a raid leader. They're going to be attacking into the raid leader, and they'll take less damage from attacking the raid leader than they would the shell fighter. So, gold! Does Silence actually remove the buffs, or would it still have them when you draw it again? Well, it'll remove its death rattle, so it's not going to shuffle back in when it's done. And then if you, yeah, like it won't have this death rattle effect, so it won't have any buffs. It won't get shuffled in, unfortunately. So real weak to Silence. But who knows? Especially early on in the expansion, maybe people aren't going to be playing Silences. They want to be more proactive than reactive. Another soup vendor. Oh, okay. Alright, game. Alright, game. Just throwing the tigers at me. We got two legendaries here. We got Shavala, the tiger. Say, the paladin legendary. Fantastic card. 25 mana. Very hard to cast. So 7/5s. Has Divine Shield, Rush, and Lifesteal. So fantastic for all you Corpse Taker fans out there. Costs 1 less for each mana you've spent on spells. So we were talking about a control paladin deck. I mean, we also talk about even paladin. Unfortunately, Shavala doesn't go in even paladin, but you know, control paladin deck. You know, you cast Consecrate, cast Inequality, Avenging Wrath, things like that. You can pretty quickly get this card down to El cheapy. But also, people are talking about this carding with the Holy Wrath, where you draw a card and deal damage equal to its power equal to a target. Now you can Holy Wrath things for 25. It's very good. Pretty kitties. The other kitty in the pack is Halazi the Lynx. It's a 5 mana 3/2. By the way, who are these cats in WoW lore? Or you lore heads? You gotta get me the canon info. It's a 5 mana 3/2 battle cry. Fill your hand with 1/1 lynxes that have rush. So this is very good with the hunter quest. As soon as you play Halazi, you're going to complete your quest next turn, probably. But outside of that, how do we feel about it? 1/1 lynxes with rush. It itself doesn't have rush. I guess that is a lot of value. I mean, it's very good with this Arena Fanatic that we have right here. This 4 mana 2/3, give all minions in your hand +1/+1. Is there any other hunter hand buff cards? I mean, we were talking before about the you know, the Tundra Rhino Scavenging Hyena Unleash the Hounds deck. This goes into that as well. Interesting stuff. I wonder if there's a Halazi the Lynx deck out there. Works well with Revenge the Wilds. That's true. Yeah, we can rush out a bunch of boys, smash them in, Revenge the Wilds them back up, trade more things. Very, very true. Golden Thug. We thuggin'. Not my favourite thug. Not my beautiful pig son, but still good. I just opened Captain Hook Tusk. Looks, sounds like we got a pirate rogue in our midst. I would like to open a Captain Hook Tusk. Ooh, golden. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, we talked about this card quite a lot, didn't we? This is the Pseudo Symmetry card. Mojo Master Zihi. 6 mana 5/5. Battlecry. Set each player to 5 mana crystals. So we talked about this in a couple of different contexts. We talked about it with Surrender to Madness as a way that we can, you know, surrender to madness. Then we can, you know, if our opponent's on 8, 9, or 10 mana, we can Zihi. We're all back to 5. We also talked about it in the context of a bit of a top-end card in like an aggressive deck. Maybe if we imagine like a Zoo, a Warlock, or something like that, where, you know, we're controlling the board, doing some face damage, trying to do as much as we can, and our opponent, let's say like a you know, a priest or something like that. They're getting close to that point where they can start psychic screaming, primordial draking. You know, maybe a druid has just resolved a nourish. Mojo Master Z here comes down, resets them, puts them further away from turning the corner as well. And I think this card could go into some decks, just like Azalina Soul Thief made it into some decks as a way to not only counter certain combos, but as a way to get a little bit more late game value. Like, this is the last card I'm going to play, and I'm going to try and kill you with your hand, and if I can't do that, then it's game. So I think it's pretty interesting. We got a golden one, so that means we have to play it, right? We gotta play it. Yeah, I'd love to get a Captain Hooktusk. I don't think the only other neutral legendary we'd really want would be like Unduster. Unduster seems very good, very combo-licious. Another card that combos well with the thing that resurrects all your beasts that died this turn. I wonder if that common hand buff card is going to do much. It is kind of overcosted compared to previous hand buff cards from Gadget Zen. Smolder Thorn Lancer. So this is the card we were talking about before. 3 mana, 3/2. If you're holding a dragon, destroy a damaged enemy minion. So execute on a body. I think that's one of the biggest upside cards for the Dragon Warrior deck, of course. Another Mass Hysteria. Oh my gosh, another legendary. There he is, Unduster. So Unduster is a 9 mana 7/7 with Rush, and it has Overkill. Summon a beast from your hand. So the very obvious one that we've been talking about all this time is Charged Devilsaur. You can summon a Charged Devilsaur, and you know, it has charge, so it can get out there, do some more damage. Other beasts, you can summon a Witchwood Grizzly, which is not going to get its battle cry, so it's just going to be a huge 5/12, 4/12, 3/12. How big is that thing? It's very big. And you know, King Crush, other such giant monsters. So definitely going to be some sweet combos going on with Induster. So good one to have. We're getting very lucky this set. Thank you, Blizzard. Alright. Another 13 packs to go. Another raiding party. So after this, we'll take a look at the collection, see how much we have left to go, and we'll see if we can spend some of this 5,000 gold that we have on packs. This drum during the pack opening is very good. Shield Breaker. 2 mana, 2/1. Battlecry. Silence an enemy minion with Taunt. I can't imagine the meta getting to a point where Shield Breaker is very good, especially compared to Ironbeak Owl and Spellbreaker. I mean, admittedly, whenever we talk about adding Ironbeak Owl and Spellbreaker to our decks, it's almost exclusively in the context of this is a way that you can still kill your opponent after they resolve a Lich King, Witchwood Grizzly, like after they resolve a big taunt. So technically this fills that role and comes in at a mana cheaper, but oftentimes you just want that Spellbreaker body, that beefy 4/3. Better lucky than good. Oh my gosh, that is very true, Vox. I don't know if you've heard me say that before, or if that was just a guess, but we say better lucky than good very often on this stream. Alright. Couple of episodes. Orchanai Phantasm. So this is really interesting. This is the 2 mana 3/2 that gives you the Orchid Soul Priest, or the 2-mana spell that did the same thing. Your healing effects deal damage this turn instead, so now you don't need, 4 mana isn't Orchid Circle, you can actually do it on 2. It does cost you the Phantasm, but, if you got to do it, you got to do it. But we might see some interesting burn heal combo decks come back. Golden. It heard what I said about it. It wants Senpai to notice it. Excellent. And the last pack. There we go. Alright, so let's take a quick look at the collection, and we'll see if we want to buy some more packs and crack them. Alright, we are back with 50 more. We're going to burn through these ones. See what we can get. We're still missing... we're at about half of the set as far as legendaries go. Epics tend to lag behind, I've noticed. Like, I was actually just checking the other day, and I have 0 Arcane Tyrants. Just never pulled an Arcane Tyrant. Golden Sandrush, though. Like that. Definitely going to try and do a budget deck around the same kind of... a budget deck based around that. Another Shriek, another new Challenger. We've pulled pretty well though, as far as, we got both the Warlock legendaries, so we can try and do that stuff. Got both the Paladin legendaries, so we can try and do that. We have both the Shaman legendaries, as we got the big frog for logging in. Frogging in. Still no Rogue legendaries though. Would like to hit one of those. Golden Predatory Instincts. Be interesting if this one does something. I do like the idea of having a kind of cool, like, Predatory Instincts, like Witchwood Grizzly, Amani Warbear package. Ah, Hakar, the Soul Flayer. This is another one that a lot of people have been talking about. So it's 10 mana 9/6. Obviously, for all you lore heads, you all know exactly who Hakar is. You've probably killed him many, many times. On Death Rattle, shuffle a Corrupted Blood into each player's deck. Now, I believe from memory the Corrupted Blood says when you draw it, you take 3 damage, and then you shuffle 2 copies of Corrupted Blood into your deck. So, Hakar is very good when your opponent has a small deck and you have a large deck. As your opponent is going to draw into their Corrupted Blood a lot quicker, and it's like exponential. As soon as they draw that first one, they're significantly more likely to draw another one, which in turn makes it more likely for them to draw another one. And once you start drawing those bloods, they kill you pretty quickly. I wonder if there's a special animation if your deck only has Corrupted Bloods in it. Like, will it just turbo kill you? It's very interesting. Maybe we could do a Hakar deck with Undertaker as well. Just get so many Corrupted Bloods into people's decks. And maybe this will do a thing in Wild with the Violet Illusionist. You can play an Illusionist on your turn, and then as you're drawing the Corrupted Bloods, they don't deal you any damage. In fact, I wonder what happens if your deck is only Corrupted Bloods and you have a Violet Illusionist out. Does the game just, like, freeze? Does it do a thing where it, like, repeats the action 50 times or whatever and no more? So the good thing about getting that legendary in the first 10 is we're like 90-something% to get another one in the next 40. Because of the way Pity Timer works. Fire Tree Witch Doctor, 2 mana 2/2. If you're holding a dragon, discover a spell. I forgot about this card. How do we feel about this in Dragon Warrior? Well, Warrior spells kind of suck. Or they're very good at doing specific things. Like Execute and Brawl. Or like any of the Million Armor Gain cards. But other than that, the spells are pretty weak. How is this in Priest? Probably pretty good. Dragon Priest, already playing some, Dusk Breakers and things like that. This comes down on a reasonable turn. I think this one could go into priest. Like a dragony, mid-rangey, combo-y priest, or one that leans on Shadow Reaper Anduin to finish her opponents off. But yeah, Hakar. Who's got good memories of Hakar? I don't have many. Okay, Wardrud Lotti. So, cool card here. Say 3 mana 1/2. It's not going to be 1/2 for long. So you choose one, transform into one of Lotti's 4 dinosaur forms. So I believe there's a 1/2 with stealth and poisonous, a 4/2 with rush, a 1/6 with taunt, and a, what is the last one? A 1/4 with spell power +1. So kind of taking the flexibility of Druid and really expanding more on it. I think because of that, we'll probably see War Druid Lotti make its way into a fair few Druid decks, just because of the flexibility. If you want, you can have a 7 mana spell damage +1 swipe. If your opponent's not doing much, they're going to drop a Lich King soon, you can play the Stealth Poisonous, so that you've got a tool to trade in earlier. You kind of pay up front for that effect. If you want a quick removal spell for something on the board, go Rush mode. So it might tie down quite a lot of help tie things together. I like that. All right, let's power through. Corrupted Blood incident. Oh my gosh, we're getting very lucky. We have Hexlord Malakras. And we also have Blast Wave. So Hexlord Malakras, very cool card. 8 mana 5/5. Battlecry, add a copy of your opening hand to your hand, except this card. So if you have Malakras in your opening hand, he won't go infinite with himself. But this is really, really cool because it adds an extra layer to your mulligan. Do you want to keep a greedy opening hand with like lots of high value cards, knowing that when you play Malakras, you get these awesome, these awesome cards when you play it? Or do you want to mulligan normally? Try and keep an early game hand that competes on the board, something like that. Risking that when you play Malakras, you just kind of get a bunch of kind of weak cards. So anything that does something like that, I really like. We've also got Blast Wave, 5 mana, deal 2 damage to all minions, overkill, add a random mage spell to your hand. So if you're playing this against Odd Paladin, is it overkill for each minion that it kills? Or is it only overkill once? Interesting, I'm not sure about that. I'm sure that is a question that would have been answered on the reveal stream or whatever. But yeah, very cool. Unfortunately, just at the moment with Dragon's Fury and Meteor has come back into play and seeing play, I think Mage has a lot of board clear. Maybe they want another 5 mana board clear and Blast Wave is it. But if the overkill works for each minion, that's a tasty one. A Golden Headhunter's Hatchet. Oh jeez, I don't know why I'm struggling to speak this entire day. Except whenever there's a Headhunter's Hatchet, we can rattle that thing off. Okay. What epic we got? Another Orchnite Phantasm? Kind of getting to the point where I think we must have most of the rares in the set by now. I think that was the second Spirit of the Lynx we needed. Golden Spirit of the Shark? I think that's the second Golden Spirit of the Shark we've gotten. So it's going to be golden battle cries all day. Right? That turns the battle cry golden, right? Another Blast Wave. Another Shriek. Surely we have all the rares at this point. We haven't talked about that Bloodsail Howler. I think we kind of decided that it was on the lower end of cards that we cared about. Lower end of the power scale as well. Let's talk about this Dragonmaw Scorcher. 5 mana 3/6 dragon. Battlecry, deal 1 damage to all other minions. So, I mean, Dread Infernal is a card that has seen play again recently. Obviously, a lot of that comes to do with, you know, the deck it being in, wanting a little bit more board clear, but also wanting more value off of their Blood Reaver Gul'dan. More bodies, more thick demon boys. Dragonmaw Scorcher comes in 1 mana cheaper, 3 less power, is a dragon though, so you can do dragon synergies with that. Yeah, maybe this comes in addition to, you know, Warpath and stuff like that in Dragon Warrior. Obviously, it synergizes quite well with cards like Frothing Berserker and Acolyte of Pain, which are already big warrior cards. Also synergizes well with Battle Rage to draw you some cards. So I wouldn't be surprised if Dragonmaw Scorcher actually crops up in some Dragon Warrior builds. Maybe even some priest decks that want a little bit of extra board clear in addition to Duskbreaker. Haunting Visions, okay. Well, we missed that one, but Haunting Visions is one of the most exciting cards over the set. It's a 3 mana spell. For Shaman, you discover a spell, and then the next spell you play this turn costs 3 less. So it's kind of like a Farsight, kind of like a Primordial Glyph. You know, it's exactly like a Primordial Glyph if you play the spell that turn. But also it allows you, especially for 3 mana is so important because it means you can play this, that Haunting Visions, discover you know, Volcano, some other spell, but then you can also still deploy your Healing Rain or your Lightning Storm that turn that you already had in your hand. So I think it's one of the most important cards in the set, particularly if Shaman still keeps being relevant, and you know, with Shudderwock getting some new tools and just kind of always being a presence in the meta, I think we can look for Haunting Visions to be a big part of it too in the coming months, at least until we see a rotation of certain cards, namely the rotation of Life Drinker, as that was in Angora, I think. And that breaks the... and Chain Gang, of course. To kind of break the existing Shudderwock combo up. Another Fire Tree Witch Doctor. Ice Cream Peddler. Very cool. Not the most playable card, but I like the flavor. Is that 3rd Golden Spirit of the Shark? Oh gosh. Alright, can we get another legendary in these last couple of packs? I think I've got 200 gold. So if we can get a legendary in these last 3 packs, we'll be very happy. Not that we shouldn't be happy, because we've clearly done very well for ourselves. Let's go. Come on, Blizzard. Take us home. Alright, last pack. Come on. Bless RNGs, let's go. Unfortunate. But still very good. So, I'm going to cut the video off there. If you're watching on YouTube, thanks for checking us out. Let me know of the cards that we opened or of the whole set. What are you most excited for? You excited to see some corrupted bloods flying around? You excited to beat some people down with Undasta? You got a different plan in mind, something a bit more devious, perhaps? Let me know in the comments. Until next time, though, I will have plenty more Rastakhan's Rumble content coming out. So stay safe, stay wavy, eat the rich, and win the Rumble. Bye. I hope you enjoyed that video. Check out other ones over here, or come subscribe to the Wave Pool for more excellent times.